Meet Dr. Edmund T. Heatley, Superintendent of Clayton County Schools and a highly decorated retired Marine. Before coming to Clayton County, Dr. Heatley served as Superintendent of the Chino Valley Unified School District, and in 2009, Dr. Heatley was named the Superintendent of the Year for a region in the state of California. Dr. Heatley came to Clayton County Public Schools during our probation period with Sachs, our $135 million budget shortfall, and at the peak of the nation and our county's economic recession. Without an interview, I can tell you that Dr. Heatley is a family man who believes in this community and the possibilities for our school district. For the rest of his story and how he fits into the accreditation story, here's Dr. Edmund T. Heatley in his own words. Joining me now is the Superintendent of Clayton County Public Schools, Dr. Edmund T. Heatley. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
I think it's common knowledge about your military career. You served 21 years in the Marine Corps, and I guess I'll start off by saying thank you for your service.
Well, and I appreciate that. It was an honor. You know, I tell people that I spent the first part of my life fighting for the nation, and I will spend the rest of my life fighting for kids. Some people don't like me using the word kids, so I'll spend the rest of my life fighting for children. It's both an honor and a pleasure.
So you come to Clayton County Public Schools, or you decide to come to Clayton County Public Schools. We have a $135 million budget shortfall. The local economy is falling apart, and you have a school system with the loss of accreditation. Actually, we're on probation when you get here. Why Clayton County?
I think the first response would be, why not Clayton County? You know, when you look at educators, the real business of education is educating students. And so I felt, and I believe, that the students in Clayton County Public Schools deserve the best. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. May not be the best, but I'm pretty good at what I do. I'm pretty good at leading. I'm pretty good at putting the team together. And I felt that the team we could put together here would be second to none, and that the students would be second to none.
What were your steps and what were your urgencies as it relates to regaining full accreditation? And how did you get the job done?
The first thing I did is pray. I pray a lot. And so I prayed about guidance on creating a team, what type of team. And then once the team was together, the team decided the direction that we were going to take. A lot of people will say, well, the superintendent did this, the superintendent did that. And the reality is I stand on about 7,000 shoulders every day. It was a team that did whatever needed to be done to ensure that we got full accreditation back without the probation tag. So the custodians, the cafeteria workers, the paraprofessionals, the media specialists, the teachers, the administrators, the parents. Most importantly, the students did exactly what we asked them to do. And please keep in mind, the students have been doing their thing from day one. They never slowed down.
On May 13th, we get full accreditation back. On May 18th, you have a press conference.
Yes, sir.
You call on a group of people that you call the willing.
Yes, sir.
And you ask them to get involved or get back involved with the school district. Who are they and why are they important to the mission of the district?
The willing are those people who have been in this fight from day one. They've never given up. They never chose to leave. They didn't choose to put their head in the sand. Instead, they chose to get involved. And I'll tell you, and the issue I have now is that they may feel that their work is done. It's not. It's just beginning. The willing are those people doing it because it's the right thing. They made the choice and continue to make the choice to stay on the right side of right, to do anything and everything legally and ethically to make sure that our students have the best opportunity to survive and be successful in this world economy. And to do that also brings power back to this area of Clayton County, whether it be economic development, whether it be our clientele, whether it be those people who wanting to come in to be part of Clayton County because of the great things that are happening. And as Dr. Phillips has said, and we have now, stolen from her, great things are happening in Clayton County. And if you don't know, just ask somebody.
Absolutely. What would you say to those people who at one time were engaged, and I think you touched on this a little bit, but what would you say to those people who were engaged and now they feel that since we have the accreditation back, they can become disengaged with the school district? What would you say to them, and what cautions would you give our stakeholders?
First thing I would say is please don't sit on the couch. Please don't stop coming to board meetings. Please don't stop visiting our schools. the problem is, whenever you have a form of success, people tend to relax. Well, I would caution all of us, this is the time to push forward even harder, because SACs, that's the floor. The ceiling is when you have a first generation Vietnamese, or excuse me, first generation English speaking Vietnamese, where the grandparents don't speak English, but that young man matriculates from kindergarten through graduation, can turn down Harvard, can turn down Brown, can turn down Princeton, and accept a full ride to Yale. That's what our students say they can do. Our students say we can compete against anybody. We can get the Gates Millennium Scholarship. We can get the Passe Scholarship. Matter of fact, we can do it on the athletic field. We can do it in the band room. We can do it in the theater. We can do whatever you ask us to do. Just challenge us. We'll meet you. So if those people that have been involved stop, then there's a big gap. And so I ask and caution everyone in Clayton County, the willing, to stay involved, to stay right here with us. Hold us accountable to ensure that your students get the best education, the best preparation for society possible.
Furloughs, layoffs, difficult financial times.
Yes, sir.
Our employees are feeling those things.
Yes, sir.
What would you say to encourage them? Why should they be encouraged?
Well, the first thing you have to understand, you have to open this book up. It's not as easy as saying, okay, we furloughed people. There were pay cuts. There were this. Everything was done for a purpose. You mentioned it. You have a $135 million deficit, and you don't want to eliminate programs. You don't want to increase class sizes, and you don't want to lay off anybody. But when 86 or 87 pennies out of every dollar goes to staffing, and you've got to cut 130, you have to look at how you're doing business differently. In this most recent 5-day furlough, I think the story was missed. Yes, it hurt. It hurt all of us, because the superintendent, the board, the teachers, the administrators, all the way down to our custodians, our paraprofessionals, everybody gave up 5 days' pay to save 68 teaching positions. That's the story that was missed. Everybody focused on, you took my 5 days' pay. We did. But the 7,000 employees that remained employed said it was important enough to bring those 68 family members back so that our students could keep elementary art, elementary music, and elementary counseling intact the way we currently have it. And I think that was a powerful story that everybody missed.
Absolutely. Now, where do you see the district going in the future?
I see us rising to higher heights. You know, people talk about the old Clayton County Public Schools and how we were the milestone to reach. That's fine. We'll meet that and we'll exceed that. But it's going to take everybody playing for the name on the front of the jersey and not the name on the back of the jersey. We play for Team Clayton County Public Schools. The name on the back talks about an individual. The name on the front talks about the team. So when you buy into the team, you don't have to buy into the superintendent. You don't even have to buy into the board. But you have to buy into the team of Clayton County Public Schools. The vision and the mission have been set. Wasn't set by the superintendent. Wasn't set by the board. It was set by the community. So now, if we're going to go out and we're going to accomplish those things, we've got to bring the willing back. We've got to bring back everybody they have to stop feeling like they're entitled to something and come to work every day to earn their paycheck. Well, to earn a paycheck is to take care of students. If you take care of the students, everything else takes care of itself. We don't talk about anything other than it's all about the children.
Do you ever consider your legacy? And if you do, what do you want your legacy to be when you leave or when you decide that my time is done here?
I haven't stopped to do that yet, but if I ponder it for a second, I think I want people to remember that everything I did was about the children and that I did it by staying on the right side of right, that I believe my morals, my values, and my ethics speak for themselves, that I will not rest until all students, and all does mean all, have an opportunity to succeed.
Well, I've had the pleasure of working very closely with you, and I appreciate that integrity and those other things that you've talked about, and I know how hard you work, so we thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the time.
Yes, sir. Before we hear more from Dr. Heatley, I had a chance to meet with a well-known former educator with a message for our kids, our district, and our community.
Joining me now is the one and only Miss Yolanda Adams. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dr. Hendrix.
So what brings you to Clayton County?
Wow, lots of things. Of course, my health and wellness tour is number one. We're trying to get people healthy, especially starting in our community, because you know we have astronomical numbers when it comes to high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, all of those things. And I just believe that when someone like me has this platform, you know, get folks out, get them educated on what's going on. Sometimes people won't go to the doctor because of fear, and I totally understand that. So we're trying to get them not to be afraid of certain things.
Definitely. One of the things many people don't know about you is that you had a former life as an educator.
I was an educator for 7 years, yes.
So what brought you to the education field, and what were some of the difficulties or what were some of the challenges that you faced as an educator?
Well, my mom was an educator. My dad was an educator. We have a history of educators in our family. And when my television hopes did not pan out, I started substitute teaching at one of our schools. Fell in love with it, fell in love with the kids, fell in love with the administration, and my principal actually was the one who encouraged me. You know, she said, "You're so good with the kids. Why don't you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I should do this." Of course, to my mom's definite happiness, she was excited about that. And for me, it really was about making sure that the kids knew every day they had a safe place to come, and they had someone who would, you know, listen to them, because a lot of times, you know, they're not being heard at home, because there may be 4 or 5 of them, you know, and you have to fend for attention and all that kind of stuff. And most importantly, getting them to understand that anything is possible. Anything is possible when they apply themselves.
Absolutely. As you were transitioning from an educator to an entertainer, what were some of the obstacles? Were there ever hard times? Were there ever difficulties?
Well, you're going to always deal with things in life. I mean, they come. And it doesn't matter whether you're this rich entertainer or this teacher, you know, loving what you do, because I've been in both places. The thing is, you have to have that determination on the inside of you that says, no matter what I face, I can deal with this. And in dealing with this, I can overcome this. Because you learn the lessons, and this is what I love about education. If you have a great foundation, everything else is gravy, you know. Everything else is gravy. So you know, you go back on your past experiences. It's like, okay, I've had a hurdle before. I had this distraction before. I've been here, so I know what to do, you know.
So who inspires you? Who's your inspiration?
Wow. First of all, my first inspiration is definitely my grandmother, who's 95 years old. She lives with Taylor and I. And just to see her go through all of the stuff that she's gone through in her life, to encourage me to keep on moving and keep going. And she's still around, still as quick as ever. She remembers everything. But I have enjoyed milestones with her. I've enjoyed seeing her in her retirement, take care of other people, and then all of a sudden, you know, just be this helper that she's always been. But this, I don't know. It seems like there was this extra added, you know, glory that God gave her, because she just, everybody she touched, she made an impression on. So I love that about her. You know, of course, I got a chance to see the first African-American president elected with her, but to see it from her perspective was mind-blowing, because she said that all of her life, she knew we could become astronauts, she knew we could become lawyers, teachers, blah, 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 but she never thought that she would see the day. Now remember, she's 95. Right. She never thought that she would see the day that we'd have an African-American president. Wow. And so to see her cry as we were watching the watching the election night, right, was mind-blowing. Wow. And my second inspiration definitely is my 10-year-old daughter, Taylor. Okay. I am inspired every day to be the best mom that I can be. Sure. You know, aside from being an entertainer and everything, anybody that knows me can tell you I'm a mom first. Right. I am a mom, and I love that job.
Outstanding. Now, there are many people who have a dream and they have a gift, but they may be lacking just a little bit in the tenacity or the courage to go for it. What advice would you give?